a booger.
You just drank it like it's no thing?
Oh,
Difference between men and women,
Country
I guess.
boy. Missouri born, Missouri bred. When I die, I'll be Missouri dead.
Fill your glass so far. Maybe nothing would just...
Okay.
It's chilling on the side. Get rid
No, it's
of
not.
it.
I got it.
No, you didn't.
Ooh, no, I didn't.
Don't lick your finger now.
You are not putting this in there.
Grody! These were clean, Robert. That's disgusting. Anyway,
Whatever.
are we starting?
Oh, yeah, this is rolling. You bet. Aaron go bra, ladies.
Shenanigans.
Oh, the holiday weekend is upon us. We started celebrating at Old Wolfhound Pub earlier
Stop
this week.
with this accent.
Oh, yes, lassie.
It's kind of a piss poor accent.
Whoa, wow.
Well, okay,
Wow.
So is
Harsh.
golf
Yeah.
Irish?
Well, yeah.
Well, you should work on that accent.
Wow.
Yeah, before you disgrace your last name. Wow. Okay.
And I'm spilling all over myself now. Now I got to wash my shirt before Monday because I'm wearing this Monday. And
Oh my goodness. Are we rolling? Is there
Yes.
audio and
Yes.
recording?
Yes.
Everything's good. I've
We're
heard this
good.
before. Okay.
Yeah.
you say this, but yeah. So
Anywho, so lots in the news.
busy week as
Busy
always.
It's always fun to come together. We record this Thursdays and talk about it over a couple drinks. We have a guest who can come in and clear some stuff up maybe or just give us his opinion on some things. But I want to hear, okay, let's start with the QU thing, right? I know we want to talk to...
The broadcaster who insulted Quincy University and insulted Quincy. Many people took umbrage to what he said.
I've thrown punches.
I don't. He wasn't.
He's not wrong.
He wasn't entirely wrong. It was just his phrasing and the format. And again, I took it as he's implying you can't go to Quincy University and be successful. And I don't know if that's successful in life or in sports, because many examples of successful Quincy University people.
Yeah.
You guys, our guests.
But he also had to eat his words because they
he
won
did.
the tournament.
Yes,
Did he actually eat his words, though, not only because of that, but was he threatened to be canceled?
Oh, really?
Probably. Well, and then, of course, you had the iron fist of the GLVC commissioner that weighed down on him.
See, I don't agree with
That's
that. I think that, like us, people
Right,
you should
free
be able to
speech.
say whatever is on your mind. Again, there will be repercussions, and you have to deal with that through whatever channels are appropriate. But the minute we start saying, cancel culture is my biggest, it's one of my biggest pet peeves anymore, because it's like, you're eliminating people for saying what's on their mind, which is something that I stand 100% against.
Yeah.
Say what's on your mind. You could be wrong. You could be made to look like a fool. You could be canceled, I guess, by your, organization or
But
whatever.
the culture itself is kind of...
The culture itself is disgusting.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
What that coach was saying wasn't
We're broadcaster.
necessarily... Okay, yeah, the broadcaster,
Yeah.
sorry. Distractions all around me right now. But anyway, what that broadcaster was saying wasn't necessarily that I don't think you can not be successful coming from Quincy University. I thought he was implying that it's hard to get people there.
Yeah.
Because he said, because it's Quincy.
He said, I want to see people succeed, which implied that you can't come here and succeed.
Well, or you read that into it.
Yeah.
So I think
Did you
when you're-
listen to what he had to
I did
say?
too.
But as-
Mr. Snarky, give me an Emo's
I
Pizza
did
St.
too.
Louis guy?
But as
Yeah.
a broadcaster, when you're talking success, as a sports broadcaster, when you're talking success and about recruiting, you are implying success through the sport, I believe. Right?
Okay.
That's what I took it as. So he's saying
Yeah.
that you can't be recruited to quit. It's hard. What I took it as, it's hard to recruit great, successful players who will then help turn a program successful, being in a place like Quincy, because we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Which
Two things can be true at once.
right. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive, I don't think. So Quincy is not in the middle of nowhere, I think. I mean,
think
we're...
if you want to say that, though, you have to be from Quincy. I think I can say, hey, we're from
Like I
Quincy.
said, only we can do that to our pledges. That's what I wrote.
Because
Hey,
when I'm trying to explain to people, hey, where are you from? I'm like, oh, we're right on the belly button of Illinois, and
In the middle of a lot of corn.
Oh, in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, no, it is. To me, it's around
hey,
a lot.
you guys
of
talk
things.
shit about me and to me all the time, but when people talk shit about me away from here, you guys defend me very staunchly, and I
yes.
appreciate
It's
that.
like, I can talk shit about my sister.
Yes.
The minute you say something, you're
Yeah.
ready to throw hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people took umbrage with it. I also think that it's his right to say that. That's what came to his mind. Okay. We can prove him wrong, or we can prove him right. And I think coaches that do recruiting, namely QU, they do very well. And our sports programs do very well for being, quote unquote, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there could be better, but I don't know how they recruit either. I don't know what kind of scholarships we offer. I don't know what kind of
the facilities. Well,
programs.
one big issue, and I'm looking. That's why I'm looking forward to talking to a former QU coach here shortly, and knowing many former QU coaches, they said the facilities have needed upgrading. Obviously, football's had a major upgrade in the not too distant past. Basketball could still use some upgrades. There are just ways that they need to improve, and of course, when you start talking, NIL money, if that's ever going to come to fruition in Quincy, like all the college athletes at the big schools who get millions of dollars to go there now, I don't think that's trickling down to D2.
Yeah, but are we? Yeah, I was going to say we're not even in the same division.
No, not at all.
So you have to look.
But
at
I think there
that.
are D2 schools that are doing NIL. Some of the big ones, I believe, are.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then we're again not competing as we could in that area.
But that's because of funding.
Yeah.
And
backers and boosters and whoever wants to fork over dough. I mean, it's all that kind of stuff. So.
Do you think that's changed over the years? I feel like when I went there, the majority of the people in my major were all from Florida and all playing football.
I think 80% of the student body is 80+% is athletes, I believe. So.
But I mean, like the recruitment going down from other places, has that gone down in the last?
when I went to school, a lot of athletes were from other countries. I mean, and I don't know I don't know enough about the recruiting process or, how.
Glad we have an expert we can talk to about
I know,
this.
it's going to be really interesting. Also, the story that you did on, the QHS, the story that was done on the QHS basketball.
Blue Devils go down swinging. What can I say?
Right? Literally. I don't know if that's a great title,
That
but
was really bad.
it was
really bad.
Not great. I think there's a lot of discussion on the article itself, not really explaining the full picture, but I don't think that's possible because I don't really know if anybody knows the full story.
Right.
Maybe they do.
We can get what we can get from the police. I do understand that the student in question was given some sort of punishment by the Quincy Public School District, which was good and needed. And but again, we don't know. We're not going to know what happened and if they're going to have any punishment. If the kid from Bennett did anything, which we've heard he said something which provoked. Still, once you get provoked. You can't do that. You can't go in the stands. I mean, it's like if anybody ever watched the movie 42, Branch Rickey talking to Jackie Robinson. Jackie's like, "You want me to fight?" And he's like, Branch Rickey says, "I want you to have the strength not to fight." Yeah. And that's kind of what this is about. You got to just turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Also, the big deal with the news story too, like when you talk about somebody provoking somebody and then somebody actually making an assault, the news was the assault. Because we don't report when people
taunt.
Yeah.
I mean, he was given a citation by law enforcement.
Hit my microphone. But that's not something that we report because it's not illegal. Now, I'm not saying that's not right, like it's right by any means.
No,
but
definitely not right.
As a news source, when you're questioning why would that story even take place, well,
a police report was filed.
Exactly.
There we go.
And then I guess end of story.
Well, and then when it was shared on social media and I commented on the story, I was kind of, I got some backlash because I didn't know the whole story. And I didn't, obviously. I don't know if anybody does, but I was commenting on the news story and basically my comment was, that's a bummer. And it may have sounded flippant when I said it because you can't really feel emotion through text, right? But I was like, bummer. I mean, it sucks, but impulsive decisions have repercussions and it is unfortunate. I mean, I think that guy, if what I've heard is true, that guy deserved the punch in the mouth.
Yeah.
Right? That's his repercussion for being an asshole.
Yeah.
But you can't do that.
But you can.
No.
You can.
You can.
It's free will. But there are consequences to acting on your
impulses.
Right to punch somebody in the mouth because you don't like what he's saying. So the impulsive nature of it, which I think I got a little backlash too because I guess it had been happening the whole game and the taunting, and so maybe not super impulsive, but definitely not well thought out considering that you are an athlete there representing the school, representing our community. I would have rather him gone through the appropriate channels and gone to coach and say, Coach, get on administration
also,
and get this kid taken care of.
It looks bad though too when there are other members on the team.
Yeah.
You know, they had to have heard this at some point in time too.
Yeah.
Why did only one person react?
Yeah.
Well, he had the cojones, so
I guess.
I'm kind of like,
I know, I'm back and forth with it
I'm
too.
torn because I'm like, look, if that guy was saying something that warranted a punch in the mouth, he got what he deserved. Now, the guy who threw the punch, ultimately, he's going to get something too. I don't know if he necessarily deserves it, but violence doesn't really get you anywhere good. Is kind of where I am.
And for anybody like that's thinking too, like, oh, these girls are taunting, like, you know, white privilege or something like that in this case, I think we've been called some pretty nasty things ourselves behind the bar.
Look, my kids
and like
call
as
me.
much as I want, well, trust me, my kid would never call me what I've been called behind the bar.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have reacted, but and as much as I wanted to come from behind that bar and do things, I didn't because I know what's gonna
You know
come
what's
out
at
of it.
stake.
Also, side note: if you ever do anything physical in a bar or on bar property, that is a felony.
Yeah.
So don't fight in the bars.
Right. Well, and even when I went to school, you know, throwing a punch was, you're getting expelled. You're probably getting arrested. So it's kind of knowing what's at stake before you make that move, before you make that next move.
All
And
I
I think
know
that's
is-
kind of something that everybody makes mistakes. I don't know if this kid considers this a mistake or if he's like, yeah, I did what I needed to do. It's just, it sucks all the way around because they were there. They played a great season. It should have been celebrated. This probably isn't the thing that they wanted to go down for.
Sadly, though, in Quincy, it's not a good season because they didn't go to state.
Well,
I mean, you ask anybody out there, the people who thought, hey, who had their hotel rooms booked for champagne, who were already,
Yeah.
clearing space on
You know
the
what?
trophy shelf. Everybody in town, all the Blue Devil fans thought this team was going to bring
Well,
home a trophy.
here's
It
what-
didn't. So if you are a Quincy basketballer who still believes we haven't had a good team since 1981,
Yeah.
you're going to think this season's a failure.
okay, well, let me go ahead and tell you that people qualify failure so differently then because
I don't think it is.
Okay, so I looked at the love on that court
30 games,
through
good season.
Snapchats, like I'm friends with, a couple notable people through that team, and the love seen on that court with the celebrations and even, not considering state, the love felt on that between the coaches and the players alike, that's success. That is something to be super freaking proud of as an organization, as a team. State be damned, and I hope that this punch isn't the thing that whole team goes down. That's not their MO, right?
There are only two teams that get to end the season with a win, the first place game and the third place game. That's it. Everybody else, you lost, your season ended. I just want to bring back something to calling you guys names. I have referred to you always as angels of virtue and mercy and
You
grace.
are-
Always. It's always what I've thought of you.
If
And I
lying,
tell people that.
isn't it Lent and lying is a sin?
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, you
I think
better-
it's double too.
I think you need to go
Double
to
during Lent.
confession or some shit.
Yeah,
Bobby.
that's on the agenda.
There
So,
you go.
Speaking of which, hey, so I understand that they want to build this apartment complex out at 48th and Columbus. I hear they might put it on Harrison between Denman and the Life Point Church. What do you think about that?
It's gonna have to be a high rise.
Isn't that what this one's gonna be though?
I don't know if it's gonna be like straight up and down, but we moved in there knowing that there was gonna be a school, and
Oh, really?
yeah, it wasn't built yet. We moved in knowing that there was going to be a
Okay.
school, and I was like, the people that owned it before us, who had it built, so kindly planted privacy hedges so that we can be in the backyard and not worry about all the traffic and the kids. And do I want that in my neighborhood? Not necessarily, no. But more
Neither do
so,
the folks on Columbus Road.
I know, and I don't blame them.
Because it's a residential neighborhood.
I saw something that was really interesting. So there is a motel out North 24th Street that lies vacant. There is the Welcome Inn property that is now burnt down, right?
Wait a minute. What, are you
Like
talking about the
Alta?
Alta, it's gone, isn't it?
Well, there's another one then. There's another little motel thingy.
There's the one on 12th, on North
No,
12th.
there's also one out,
I have no idea
24th
what she's
Street.
talking about.
I think it's by El Rancho Vista.
Yeah, that was the Althoff.
Isn't there another one out there?
Is there?
I feel like there is.
Okay.
Anyway, lots of options, I guess, is what I'm
Do you
saying.
see the option in the comments from somebody about, and I thought about this too, but obviously they're not just going to hand it over like the old St. Mary's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's commercial. That's commercial
I think
area.
that'd be great.
I don't know what they're planning on it, but like if we are in a housing crisis and Blessing has, you know, a lot of impact, I want to say influence behind this, like they're saying, you know, we want to get people here, but we can't because there's no housing for them. Well, then maybe that would be the...
I think there's a lot of Airbnbs and stuff, though, that do like long-term. I don't know. I feel like there's the studies that are being done aren't as comprehensive as I think they
All the
need
people
to be.
who would move in a complex there, though, who would get hit on Broadway crossing to go to Sonic and McDonald's, that'd be a real hazard. It'd be a run over there to get food. It'd be rough.
DoorDash, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think my hot take on that is, I don't even know if I'm using that right. Sorry, kids, if
Sure.
I'm cringy.
No, you're good.
Putting it next to school, I'm sure there's reasons behind it. Logically, you want these kiddos who may be living there to be able to get to these schools. But it does put a lot of pressure on the class sizes, on that school in particular. The infrastructure, there's zoning for a reason, which Mr. Busso eloquently put it.
It's the city's Bible,
Yeah.
is what he said.
It is. It's like, well, but now we kind of like,
Land use.
we finagle, right, to get these things in there. And
Spot zoning, they call it.
yeah, but I don't know if that's the way
You
of
shouldn't
the
break the
future.
Bible.
You know,
Especially during Lent.
right? But I think there's just more options that maybe we haven't explored and that could withstand some of the extra pressures put on infrastructure. So was this the first and only place that was even discussed? I guess I just don't understand the
No, it
whole...
was not.
No, okay.
It was not.
So I guess I just don't understand why now, and
I think they'll end
Why
up
there?
trying something else because obviously there's no appetite amongst the members of the city council to let this thing fly, according to what David said.
That was
He was at the
obvious
meeting
at the turnout.
Yeah, he's like, no way, I'm not gonna do
Wait
this.
for the city council people.
Yeah, city council they're not gonna support that. No way. After all those people raised hell,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
No. So, nah.
So, a lot of interesting stuff.
Yep.
Very, I don't know. It's all good stuff and doesn't really impact me 100% personally. But
Until they move it across Harrison from you.
as always, I have an opinion, and my opinion's just like everybody else's.
Or they can
Your
put it on the
opinion's pretty
bluff.
strong. Oh, just be on. I have a hotel next to me that reopened, and it was supposed
Yeah.
to be like so great
Zombie
and
hotel.
awesome, and I'm pretty sure
Now they have a big sign that says weekly.
extended
so it turned
stays.
into an extended stay.
It turned into exactly what I said it was
Yeah.
going to turn into.
Yeah.
Well, at least you don't live next to the Welcome Inn, which got
I mean, I
torched.
live kind of next
That's a
to
little
that too. But
sus. What do
whatever.
you think about that?
What do you
private?
think? Yeah.
A little sus.
Well, it goes both ways too. Now the potential buyers
Yeah.
find it more enticing, is what I've heard.
Because they're going to have to
But-
spend less to tear the fucker down.
But it's just like,
Whack.
well, who did it?
Excuse me.
The potential buyers
Oh,
or
hey. Come on, let's
No,
not be
not the
accusing
potential
people.
buyer.
No, we're not saying it. We're not saying who might have set it on
Who done
fire.
it? I have my thoughts. I'm no
Sitting
detective.
between
but
Hercule Poirot and Sherlock Holmes.
I
here.
have watched a lot of crime shows, so I could probably let me sniff around it for a minute, and I could figure it out.
Well, like I said, let's go ahead and take our break here and talk to our guest because I got a lot of stuff I want to talk to him about with
He's one of my
stuff coming
favorites.
up. I know he is.
and he has
That's great.
lots of strong opinions.
And he's
right.
very, very smart.
All right. Hey, we'll be back.
Welcome out to Kelly's on Broadway tonight. We're drinking cold beer and it feels so right. I'll meet you out on Broadway underneath the Shamrock light. We're gonna have a good time on the patio tonight. There's a party down at Kelly's on Broadway tonight. We're drinking cold beer on a champagne night. We're feeling all alone and you got no place to go. So come down here and drink a beer on Kelly's patio. Kelly's a fun place to eat and drink. 2902 Broadway.
Welcome to Cedar Club, Quincy's favorite local bar. A friendly corner bar with a laid-back atmosphere and affordable drinks. It's the perfect spot for a great time. With entertainment galore, including shuffleboard, golden tea, pool, foosball, and winning gaming machines. Cedar Club's latest edition is the best spot to catch your favorite game. Great drinks, great friends, and great times. Cedar Club, 20th and Cedar in Quincy.
What's
Barn.
up? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. So when I was talking to you about coming in, I was like, we can talk about whatever you want. It doesn't have to be anything like earth-shattering. But you were sitting over there listening to our topics. Do you have any comments on any of them? Is there one that you want to talk
Your
about?
university was besmirched, sir.
Well, it's not really.
I mean, there's two ways to look at that. I mean, was he saying something that was so terrible? No. I mean, I recruited at Quincy University. I mean, I came from Alton. I wound up making this my home. And I recruited Alton. I recruited Quincy, and I used all the stuff he said to our advantage. I'm like, because when you're recruiting kids from big cities, like I'm from Alton, which would be the metro, like here, Quincy High had a great run. They're all over the news. They're all over this. Where I'm from, you had to win state just to get your score. Just your score. No interviews or nothing.
In the little box.
On the news.
Post-Dispatch or on Channel 4
and
or whatever.
You weren't recognized as an athlete unless you were like first team all-metro, and that was just a line. It wasn't like...
Or you were D1 going to Notre Dame.
Yeah, you didn't. There was no signings unless you were Division I.
Yeah.
Division II, nope, didn't make the cut. Stuff like that. So when I would recruit kids from bigger cities, and I just tell them, like, hey, we got 2 TV stations. We get all the coverage. It's got everything you want. It's got everything a big city has. It's just not all the traffic and all the headaches. And you remember it. And like Steve Hawkins, who used to coach here, he always talked about, it's a place where you can leave and come back 5 years later. It's like a sitcom. You just got filled right back in. Nobody really ever misses you. Or whatever. Yeah, I mean, and that's the positive about Quincy.
Hawk and I...
I mean, people take some stuff so personal, like, what's the big deal?
Hawk and I are friends, and that's one of the things when he came back and we talked about that, he goes, it's like I never left. It's like the place just like froze in time.
Yeah.
And
That's what's great about it. I love that you said that, though, that you use the things that some people view as negatives as, we're using it as a positive because that's what people in Quincy, that's what we love about it. We love it.
Like this day, I got buddies that go see in Chicago or, Florida and stuff, and they come up and they're just like, first thing they care about, nothing's changed. Abbey, Coach House, stuff like that, they live for.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it a good college town.
Yeah.
It is. And, you look at that.
Because on the other hand, I recruit against UMSL.
Yeah.
So you go to UMSL. They win the GLVC. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
In St. Louis.
They were
literally nobody
They were
cares.
probably page 4 in the Post-Dispatch.
Yeah, and the kids who go to UMSL don't care because they're all commuting in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
There's
what
no stake in the game. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why even your big major universities are not really in huge towns when you think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Macomb. You drive through that place, it's like nothing,
Mississippi
boom.
State, Starkville,
Yeah. Okay.
Mississippi.
Lincoln, Nebraska? Hello.
Yeah, there's more people when they have a home football game in the city, in the stadium, than they do in the whole. It's the 3rd largest city that day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like.
So where was this broadcaster from?
St. Louis. He's been doing GLVC games for the last 14 years or so. He works
also
at Vianney.
in his defense, he might have meant it's like, wow, she's done a heck of a job in 2 years. She's turned around.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And she has.
Sure.
Yeah, and
But I think people read into it what they want. And if you look at it as negative, which I'm like, look, this guy doesn't know Quincy. He's not spent a significant amount of time here. He doesn't know that.
He's been there to do a few ball games.
Yeah, but he
I'm
doesn't
sure.
know what's great about Quincy, so he can say whatever's on his mind. We know the truth. I did love the letter to the editor. I will say that.
From Dr. McGee?
Yeah. I thought it was it was very well thought out, and I'm glad he shared it, and I think that a lot of people agreed with them. Quincy's a great place, and if you know us and you know our community, then maybe you wouldn't say those things that we're, and we may be.
Nothing about my column, though?
Huh?
Yeah, whatever.
but I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's
but
not.
But hey, it was clickbait. It was great. For our purposes, yeah.
Actually, the most positive thing about it is look at the Raleigh behind it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fix your column
Thanks.
here. You're good.
I mean,
We're good here.
I care
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, he
So-
doesn't, but that's okay.
Okay, so then talking about, we were talking outside about the QH boys basketball, and we were talking in here before you came on. It's another thing you were like, it's just not that big of a deal. We just made.
I mean, it's not. Okay, if you want to look at it, should have even went up in the stands? No.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, 30 years ago, it wouldn't even made news.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there wouldn't have been streaming.
Yeah.
Nothing would have been said. Probably would have maybe a principal calling a principal.
Yeah, social media.
Yeah,
Really played.
the kid, the kid who got hit probably said something,
He
stuff
deserved it.
happens. It's not the end of the world.
I'm just a couple years older than you, but you and I are both of the mindset that's like, thank God that shit wasn't around when we were in high school, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the stuff that just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, before, like, now it's no, I mean, I get it, I understand there's no violence, there's no fights, but, I mean, in high school, my time, people fought.
Yeah.
Like, you got in a fight.
Well, and I think you brought up a good point. There was no gun involved. Let's just praise that, right? Thank you
I mean,
for.
it was just it's not that big of a deal. Like,
Yeah.
it happens. Emotionals. I mean,
Yeah.
you got 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Why can't we, like, what always cracks me up is people judge people, I'm 56. I would never have done that.
Oh my, I would have
Come
done
on.
it all.
Yeah, you
No,
would've.
but my point is when you're 8, look at how they're acting.
Yeah.
In the big picture, he's going to learn a lesson. Life goes on.
Yeah.
Honestly, 20 years ago, you didn't have something like this. Nobody would have been talking about it.
Yeah.
Nope. I want to talk real quick about, back to QU a little bit and QU football, and we were talking about facilities and the school itself. I went to a couple of football games last year and hung out with you a bit, and it's really cool that when you talk about facilities, the upgrades they've made compared to when you were coaching
Compared to
there.
Shawshank Redemption?
Yes.
I was thinking Cool Hand Luke, but sure. I mean, to go up there and you hang out in the box and you're watching the game, and they were fun and they were competitive last year. So you look at something like that, and it can, and Courtney Boyd, they're proving that it can be done here.
Yeah, I mean, it can. I mean, it's a good experience, and you can definitely win here with the support,
With the
and
support.
recruit and stuff like that. Now
Yeah.
it's tough because everything, it all funnels down. I mean, if you got your big Power Fives, you're like, didn't they just build a $60 million improvement, and now they're having another capital campaign to build another upgrade to Nebraska so they can compete
Mizzou,
with Ohio
same shit.
State?
Yeah, Mizzou's the same thing.
So it all funnels down. So, wasn't that long ago we built the fitness center, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
now
fantastic.
people are like, well, what's next now? You know what I mean? It's like what's always, and that's the mindset when you're recruiting, because recruiting and education has almost become a business.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can I do to bring those students here?
So what do you think? I'm really interested in your take, and not necessarily just from a recruitment standpoint, but so you're a small business owner. You own a lot of different small businesses in town, but you're also insurance guy, right? You're my insurance guy. You're very well liked and
Mine
well
too.
respected. So from a Quincy standpoint, and you can even take it down to a granular level of QU, what are we missing? What can we do better as a community, whether that's from a small business standpoint or from, bringing people in, because tourism is one thing, but bringing people in to come here, stay here, live here, what do you think we're missing? You have any insight?
I mean, you have to look at, are we shrinking?
Yeah.
We've been at 40,000 for a while, haven't we?
We've been in the 38
We've been in the
to
range.
40 range
Yeah,
for
years and years.
50 years.
Yeah.
Okay, now when you compare it to other towns, that's actually pretty amazing.
Yeah. Like in
that's-
Macomb, right? Like that
Macomb.
I was mentioned.
I mean, I talk about Alton. In
Yeah.
Alton, I think it's 25,000 now. It used to be 60,000.
Well, Macomb's also been taking the hit because WIU enrollment has dropped in half over the last 25
Yeah, but see, that goes
years.
back to the question, like, what are they missing? What are we missing? What is QU? What
Or
can we
QU's
do?
enrollment's actually gone up
Yeah.
in that period because it used to be always under 1,000. Now they've been like in the
I mean, when
1,200 range or
QU's
whatever.
fluxed around, well, forever it was just a standard answer, 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter, you open 1,200.
Yeah.
We're not at 12 more, let's just count somebody.
Sure. But again, as we talked about before we got on here, it's 85% athletes or something like that?
Yeah, no, that's changed a lot. From, like, when I played football there, we had 120 guys on the team, but we only made up 10% of the student body.
Yeah.
Now athletes make up 80%.
Well, they've added so many more sports, too.
Yeah, but it's almost like I said, it's hard. How many students want to, you need to find a reason why students want to go there who aren't playing a sport or playing
That's what I
an activity.
mean. That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
You got to find other reasons why they want to come.
Yeah.
Like an investment. Like why do they want to come here like that? When you talk about Quincy, what we need, honestly, like when it comes to fast food, we can all sit around and dream of our best fast food restaurant we want to come.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we got
We're good on fast food.
Yeah, we're good on what you
we're
want.
okay.
We got restaurants, stuff like that.
Just let it go,
It's fine. It's not going to matter. Okay?
He's good. He's good. It's good.
Jesus Christ. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal.
We don't. Raising Cane's great. Yeah, I still haven't been there, by the way.
But
Still haven't been to Raising Cane's.
All right.
you know, I mean, it's a tough call. Like, because everything is so, like the waterfront. Everybody wants, develop that or whatever. But
What's your take on that?
It's a great idea, but who's going to pay for it?
Yeah.
I mean, everything's so, like when you start, like $1 million is nothing anymore when you start building something.
Yeah.
Or trying to change
Doesn't
things.
get you very far. Yeah.
No, so I mean, it's definitely, like, everybody wants the streets fixed, but I don't want to pay more taxes.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you look at it, everybody comes up with ideas, and I do too, but when you start breaking it down, it's like it's not as easy as people think. So as much as I might disagree with somebody in city council or the mayor or whatever, but deep down, I got to respect every one of them for doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's easy to be that armchair quarterback until you're the guy who has to sit there and take the heat.
Right.
I mean, for that project they proposed, against that project. Well, at least somebody put it out on the table.
Sure.
Now, I can't say I was for it,
But ambitions are what
but
drives.
I got to give,
Progress.
the mayor listened, and the mayor did something there, and so did the city alderman. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I got to respect anybody who has the idea to put something on the table.
Yeah, there's
at
nothing
least.
wrong with just let's throw it out there. If you don't like it, great. If not, fine.
Yeah, so I mean, that part of it, I respect people for that.
So as far as Quincy, and we're talking about recruiting, and I know you came from a sports background, and you had ways of recruiting. I'm not going to pretend to even try to understand it, but if you were looking at telling someone how we could do something better, I mean, do you think the riverfront is it? What is Quincy missing? What can we do better from, because it's like, it goes back to, we want all these businesses, but then we don't have people to work, or we do, but they don't want to, or what's the...
I mean, that part of it, like, it's, you got to have skilled people. People want to, it's like minimum wage. You raise it up. Has it helped? Has it hurt? I don't know all the details, but I mean, as you bring minimum wage up, costs go up.
Yeah.
And then if you're paying this much for minimum wage, the guy who does this for you, he wants more. I mean, it just funnels on up. So, like an accountant I know, he told me, like, why not make minimum wage $100? It's all arbitrary when you really think about it, because everything else just funnels up with it.
Yeah.
And I really can't tell you what Quincy needs to make it better.
No.
But I know this much. We are, like, when you see, like, when I would go to, like, talk to people from other places when I was recruiting, and I talked about, we got NAPI, we got Titan, we got all these factories, we got, Blue Cross Blue Shield, all people are like, wow. They got people leaving their cities.
Yeah.
We're worried about how we get people to work here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes we need to take a step back and look at our positive.
Yeah.
And I'm not that guy who thinks always his glass is always half full,
No.
I mean, I
You're
can,
not.
yeah, I'm not.
You are not.
No.
You are not Sammy Sunshine. That's for sure.
That was going to be my next. Do we need to make Quincy better for people to come here? Do we think that? Because one of the things I was looking at, the mayoral debate, and it was like, we basically kind of what I read from Linda Moore is that, we need to look at Quincy first. And I know Brittany and I and Bob, we've all had these conversations that do we think success is more population? I don't necessarily think that. So do we need to bring more people here outside of recruiting for colleges and having them come here and support our local university and John Wood? But as far as like coming and living here, if we're not losing droves of people, do we need to do something to significantly grow our population, or do we need to focus on how we get, more sustainable here?
And again, if we bring these people in, where are they going to live? Because obviously, people don't want.
Not in a high-rise on Harrison.
We have a high-rise on Harrison or a high-rise on Columbus Road.
Listen,
So
we're not fighting traffic because Barn will run over him, run over them in his big truck.
I'm just saying, what do we need to get people here? I mean, like housing. Housing's a problem everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we want our roads fixed, we want this fixed, so we got to raise property tax. Well, then if you own a rental property or you build a rental property, as your property tax goes up, that means you're going to start your base rent before you even think about paying the mortgage or insurance or anything up here. So that all comes into it. It's not an easy solution from that standpoint. And I just think that when you look at Quincy, how do you get people to come here? You know, I mean, do you recruit?
Do we need people here? Do we need more people here? I guess is my question. So as a small business owner.
You want to build a wall?
No, but I think Quincy is good. And I think we can support our population and keep people here and have those people, you know, they're procreating, right? They're having families, and then there's reasons for the kids maybe to go off to college, but to come back and then start the process over, have a family, because it's a great place for families, right? So what do we do to kind of promote
you
that instead
have
of...
to, you're never going to convince that kid who's 22, 23, right out of college, if he wants to be an accountant, or he wants to do that big city. He wants to experience that.
Sure.
But then when he gets a little older, he realizes, you know what, I'm done with traffic. I'm done with all this. So then, do we recruit that 30 to 35 age?
Yeah.
And try to get them back, or try to realize what we have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's amazing, and I'm huge compliment there that Quincy Notre Dame's so successful.
Yeah.
And Quincy High is so successful. So to have a Catholic school that's so successful when your public school is so solid too,
right,
it says a lot about your community. I mean, the fact that when I tell people from out of town that, we built 4 schools and it passed the referendum, like 60%?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen
right.
anywhere. I mean, you're not going to go to Decatur and they're going to be like, oh, here, let's just 60%. Let's just build 4 new schools.
Yeah.
So that part of it, the community does. I mean, the town does matter and does support it in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So then, as back to the small business side of things, I've heard it from everyone, but as far as staffing, okay, do you have issues staffing? So let's roll through. So you own Cedar Club, Utopia. You have a couple gambling joints, gaming joints. I don't know what's the legit thing. Whatever, it's fine.
Parlors, whatever.
Yeah, parlors. You have your insurance business, and it can't be easy to find people to staff all of the places that you run, right?
So to be fair, the only one that's really ever hard for me to fill is State Farm.
Really?
Once I find a good, because one, you got to be licensed.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to it than that. I really don't have a problem staffing
any of the other joints.
No, because like the gaming parlors, a lot of times I get retired people just looking for a part-time job, looking to get out.
Easy.
Yeah, and it's not brain. You're just sitting there watching TV, handing out Mountain Dews for free. It's not that complex.
Yeah.
So that part, and then when you got college bartenders, you got college waitresses.
Sure.
So that part's never hard.
That surprises me because everybody's like, oh, there's no head of household jobs. Insurance would be that, but there is an investment that goes into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's
you
not,
gotta really be,
and it's that now, and then, but the problem is when you need to hire somebody, can you? It's not like I can hire a person that's keeping them in the bullpen until somebody retires or quits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean that part of it hard. So you got to pass the test. You got to do that because to give you an idea, this is coming from State Farm. If you talk to Chuck Schultz or Derek Zom or Melissa Mann, State Farm spends a ton of time on trying to find places of how we can hire team members. They got programs now where you can hire team members in Texas that work your stuff remotely. And State Farm's allowed this and stuff like that. So they're trying to get more creative.
Oh, they're going into the next century. Yeah.
Are there things,
remote working yeah.
Which I'm not a real fan of yet. I mean, I can hardly turn on a computer as
You're
it
old
is.
school. You need your Shandy there so she can help you figure out your computer. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, from that standpoint, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And you take the biggest one is where I see it is and I just noticed this probably in the last. I mean, how many? We used to have 3 or 4 big accounting firms here now.
Yeah.
Well, they're pretty much all. As the guys retire, there's no. It's not like somebody's taking them over or anything like that.
Oh, you're talking like private, like V&R or.
No, like we had. You got Gray Hunterston, but you
got Iron Barons, Eaters and Gray, Ben Mindor.
Yeah,
they're still around, but
they're doing
smaller.
Because nobody's coming in to replace them.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I always worry about that is if those all go, well then. Your NAPOD's your blessing. They're going to start going out.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're going to start going to Chicago or St. Louis or Springfield. I mean, but that's just something that simple. Now, those are the people you might want to ask, how come you can't get somebody to come in, a young person to buy in?
Yeah.
And be
be a partner.
Fly the ranks to be a partner or something like that. and that's the stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never, what I mean, like from that standpoint.
Yeah.
I want to wrap this up on something important.
We're wrapping it up. I feel like this is
That's not short. Yeah.
Bears.
Yeah.
Gotta be happy, right?
I mean, finally we got some old linemen.
You're an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
You gotta be happy about that.
It drives me nuts that we haven't. What?
Wait.
Wait,
What are we happy about?
Bears.
The last season.
No.
It's-
This coming
the
season,
whole season's
you got
over,
you got
okay?
the best coach who everybody wanted. Number one, you got the quarterback who I think could be really good if he just had some support around him, which was the offensive line because the dude ran around like a hostage all year. And now they've added a bunch of really good offensive linemen.
3 offensive linemen.
Okay.
And we got a draft pick. We better draft an offensive lineman. Or a
That's
D
what you were
tackle.
excited about because you said, even though they sucked,
We better
we
get
got a
something,
good draft pick,
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
we're picking the right people, in
Yeah.
my opinion. I mean, we gotta get like I heard one of the podcast guys like the Bears better not draft anybody who weighs less than 290 or 300.
Do they need a running back?
Not as much as you take as great as Barkley was, unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you're O-line,
Yeah.
and you're not getting touched for 2.5 yards.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the worst running back in the NFL could have done what he said, but he's probably still going to get 1,000 yards when you're.
I could have gotten 1,000 yards by that
Let's don't get
offensive line.
carried away.
are you kidding? Listen, I want to take this out to QU and just see how this plays out. Yeah. Okay, so Bears going to be hopefully a great
Well, they
season.
can't be any worse.
Right. That's what I was going to say. I think I texted you a couple times and was like, what do you think? I won't come in to see you, but-
They're not very good. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
But again, you got everybody wanted Ben Johnson. He was the number one. Hey, if you can get this guy, and he went. I think the biggest concern is the rest of the division, except the Vikings. I think the Vikings just took it in the shorts. But I think that you still got to worry about the Packers. You still got to worry about the Lions. But the Lions lost all their coaches, got other jobs and stuff.
You're talking about like that comment earlier we started about QU and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Look at the Packers. I mean, that's small market. You don't get any smaller than them, and
Yeah.
look how they succeed and use it to their advantage and stuff like
See?
that.
And that's because the NFL has revenue sharing that these other sports don't have. The Green Bay Packers can be as successful as the New York Giants because of revenue sharing. All these other sports
But
just
also,
completely
by not
screw
having
it
an
up.
owner, they just ran by a general manager
Yes,
too.
they are owned by
They're in a
their
unique
public trust.
situation. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
See how much you can learn sitting down with Barn. You wanted to wrap it up, but
We keep. Yeah, you're good. Keep
little
going.
producer lady over here says we need to talk about.
Have you done a
48th
camera switch? Have you switched
48th
any cameras
Street
at all sitting
development.
over there?
She's good. She's doing great.
Lies.
48th Street development. Okay, have you read up on this at all?
On what?
I
48th
know
Street development.
they want to develop
An apartment, something
apartment
or
complex
another.
like 250 units or something.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that.
Okay,
Sorry.
so
Okay.
do you have any thoughts on it?
I mean, do we need housing? Yes.
Do we?
I don't know.
I
They
don't
say
know
we
yet. See,
do.
that's why I'm like, I don't know if we do or not.
All of our
Buggy.
leaders say we do. Is that the bug that
Well-
you wiped off your pants?
Anyway,
I mean,
so
does a 250 unit?
it seems a lot.
I mean, I would like to hear from. I mean, what does it look like in 12 years?
Right.
What
That's
does it look
the
like
thing.
That's
in
the
20
key.
We're not gonna be Section 8. Well, right now you're not. But when you can't fill it, guess
Well,
what?
you're not until say I build it. No, and then you fill it, and then in 10, 12 years, I
It's
sell it.
too much to
No, I
maintain.
sell it,
Yeah.
and somebody sees the benefit of whatever. I mean, I don't. You can't say it's not going to be that way. I mean, they're going.
Nobody can predict anything.
Yeah.
But it's like,
But I don't live. I mean, I understand
okay, what if
why
it was?
neighbors care.
What if it was? Yeah.
I don't know. It probably wouldn't bug me personally.
It wouldn't bug me except for I have smaller kids, so I don't want them to be. That's going to significantly
But I
increase
will tell you
traffic and
this.
stuff. Like,
Bert,
the safety
I
thing is the
understand
only
where
thing I'm
people
concerned
get
about.
You're already
upset.
by school.
I know,
The
Because
traffic count's gonna be high anyway.
but it would be more. So they have a school too, but it would be more with 240 more units. And if you can't control the traffic as is, which I think there's already not great infrastructure out there. When I'm talking like sidewalks and stuff, there's not a lot of.
But
I
that's
mean,
why
do we have every apartment complex booked
That's
in this
my
town?
question.
I don't know.
Okay, so you have
I assume we
Carson,
do.
Cardinal. There's something out North 12th. There's the Cedar Crest.
There's
or
the one by
Cedar-
the Oakley Lindsay Center.
So there's a lot of apartment buildings, and my question is, are they full? Is that what you were going to say? Are they full?
Yeah, I think they are.
Also, when you
There's Brittany's
have...
basement.
We're not even going to go there. But so there's a study. Yeah, we need more housing, but do we need more housing for who? Do we need housing so we can recruit people to come to Quincy? Do we need housing for people who are unhoused? If we need housing for people who are unhoused, can they afford?
Word.
Huh?
Is that a word?
Unhoused?
Okay. All right. I'll buy
Right?
it. Sure.
It's less. It's.
Are you saying
it's what
homeless? Are you
people
trying to say unhomeless?
It's the politically correct way to say.
You're politically correct. What the hell?
I'm trying to be
I'm
a
going
little
to
more.
say, if
unhoused.
you don't have a house, are you really upset if they don't use the politically correct word to say you're homeless?
I don't think so.
I mean, I would feel like I'm effing hot or I'm effing cold. I mean, it's not like I'm... You're
All right, guys.
If you're living under the little Castle Arms
right,
hangover
yeah,
there
okay,
south
so
of
that's my
Brittany's
question.
house, then there's that.
Who needs a home?
I don't.
If it's homeless people, then they're not going to be able to afford a high-rise apartment out 48th Street. If it's people that we're trying to recruit here, we need to focus on how we're getting them here to start with before we build this high-rise. I just don't understand where the study is. They're saying we need more places for people to live.
Are we full at 8th and Jersey?
What's 8th in Jersey?
Brittany's favorite apartments.
Oh, Eagles?
Across from the scoreboard.
Oh!
Why you flip me off?
Oh,
I
she's-
speak truth.
Okay, anyway.
Am I speaking the truth? Yes.
But
Thank you.
maybe we need to do a little more. Housing studies say that we're short of housing, but what's it based on? I guess I need to know more information.
I mean, I don't know, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to say one way or the other.
Yeah,
I'm just going by what, you read or they tell you.
sure.
Everybody says we do. Everybody says we need it. So hey,
I don't know who
must be
everybody
true.
is or where they're getting their information.
Oh,
but
you listen to the mayor, Greta, county board. Everybody says need more housing. They all say that. They all
They
say
ordered
that.
their furniture from St. Louis, so I'm not.
Oh,
They ordered it from
jeez.
Quincy. All right. Okay.
On that note,
On that note, Barn, thank
thanks.
you so much.
Thanks
I
a
love
lot,
you
guys.
dearly.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
see you next week.